Hi there. This is war. Just as our forebears fought in World War II, World War I, whatever the Civil War, and we fought for our freedoms, it's now war. Do you realize you can scare a population over a virus that really doesn't kill very many people, that's not even that serious? You can make up numbers, have these models, you can shut down an economy, frighten at least half the population, probably more, and they will willingly submit to tyranny. They will willingly give up their civil rights. This is wrong, wrong, wrong. I am so fired up. I'm a warrior. As my friend Pamela LaChapelle said, I'm a warrior, not a worrier. I am fighting this with everything I have. I would even go to jail. I would even go to jail for this. Because if people can live and people can go to war and die for this country and what we stand for, well, I can fight too. I can fight too. So I'm really fired. I'm particularly fired up about the governors of the different states and our governor. What right do they have to be such dictators? That they can just say anything they want and do it. Well, only if we give them the power to do that. They do not make laws. Oh, I love something I saw on Tucker Carlson last night. Judge Andrew Napolitano. I never particularly liked him that well, or didn't dislike him, didn't really like him. But he said, they don't make laws. Governors don't make laws. The police officers or sheriffs, they don't have to carry out these laws. Like, I have noticed that in the Santa Monica area, there's no harassment by police officers, you know, trying to enforce social distancing. They don't bother us at all. So they've just decided, leave us alone, okay? Even if there's social distancing in place. They're not doing it. And if a police officer did come up to me, I would shame them. Just say, why are you doing this? I remember a long time ago, when I first started college, I was dating a police officer. And he was telling me about some laws that were on the books. But he said, if anybody ever arrested somebody or brought them in for this, oh, they'd be laughed out of the station house. He said, everybody knows there's certain things you just don't do. You don't arrest people for, even if it's a law on the books. So they don't have to do this. By the way, I love Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter. And the reason why I say this, I never really paid attention that much to Twitter, but there's a lot of really great people and great short videos on Twitter. It's the way I find out about things. And it's great. You get immediate feedback. I have some followers that like my tweets. I love that. That's nice. But also, you start finding other people who feel the way you do. And there's a huge community out there. So just follow me on Twitter. I find myself going to that a lot because, quite frankly, it's energizing. It's like there are people, we are mad, we are angry, we are fighting this, okay? And you don't have to sit there and feel vaguely frustrated. We're at war, but we're gonna win. We are going to win. Okay, oh, I have so much to say. So let me just start with a few of the many, 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 many thoughts I've had this week. And it's a thought of this. Don't give people power over you. I don't understand this. For example, is that what we're teaching our young people? What is it about, oh, you're afraid you're going to get attacked on Twitter, or you're afraid you're going to get criticized? If you're worried about that, then you're giving away your power. Never give away your personal power. Just don't do it. You can do it. Don't give away your personal power. just rewatched The Wizard of Oz. I love my favorite movie of all time. I used to watch it when I was a kid, wait every year for it to come on. But I love Glenda, the Witch of the North, when the wicked witches, give me back those slippers. And then she said, "Oh, be gone, you have no power here. Be careful before someone drops a house on you." And then the other witch, she goes like this. But the point is, I loved Glenda, the Witch of the North. Be gone, you have no power here. You know, I really like listening to Michael Knowles, but he had somebody, he was talking about, I guess, I don't remember, some young football player who was, the words he used was something like, he had a tattoo about the Patriots, about the Revolution. I don't remember the details. But Michael Knowles asked the question, he can't have it. Why aren't they allowing him to have it? And I'm thinking, he can have it. Get some backbone, dude. Leave it on. Be criticized. Why are you so afraid of, if we're afraid of criticism from this left-wing fake news media or some celebrity, you're as good as in prison, okay? If you cannot be yourself, if you cannot stand up for what you believe in because you're so worried about being criticized, because, you know, if people complained or criticized, and then he had the tattoo removed. I was like, what? What the heck is that? Man. We just taught the left that we on the right can be easily bullied if we care what they think. I don't care what they think. Now, if you are talking about your physical safety, then that's another issue, okay? Like you could walk into a crowd where somebody's gonna beat you up like Antifa. I'll stay away from those people. But if it's just social criticism, social shaming, well, by the way, I'm itching for a fight because I do realize I still have a little bit of that leftist tendency to lecture other people. So I'm just kind of waiting for somebody to try to say something to me about not wearing a mask outside. They're not doing it. Because I have to tell myself, don't say something snide to people who are wearing a mask outside. I feel like saying, like, why are you wearing the mask? Like, what's your problem? I mean, I really have to stifle that. Because I thought that's just what the left is doing to the, you know, trying to social shame people. So I'm being nice. I'm not doing that. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. I don't want to wear a mask. So I'm not wearing one, except in the grocery store. And if you're bothered about all this, I encourage you not to use the words, oh, I hope we could do this. I wish we can do this. No, that's wimp talk. No, we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. We're going to fight for our rights. Now, there's various ways you can fight for your rights. So I apologize if I could not actually respond to every single comment. Last time I read them all, love them all. I love your comments. I've got so many really smart and insightful people that listen to this channel and comment. I'm thrilled about that. But my niece Julie, she's 19 years old. She came to visit me this week, and it was really fun being with her. And she's got a natural independent streak to her, but when I was talking to her about the virus and this and that, literally she had not heard any of this, but she was very receptive to it. I mean, obviously she came to see me. So, you know, I was telling her about our constitutional rights and what the governor is doing, and it all made sense to her. She's really got an incredibly insightful mind. It's amazing to me that somebody could be 19 years old and have so much wisdom. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I mean, there's like even though I'm so much older than she is, there's like an equality there when she comes to visit. Just She was just a delight. I loved having her. You know, and I was thinking about, I saw something that on the Ben Shapiro show. Okay, first of all, before I say anything about that, I am really, really, really bothered. Okay, yeah. You might say, why is she bothered by so many things? And I realized that all the anger in my body is focused on this. It's not anger. I don't put the anger on neighbors or people. I'm actually a pretty nice person. But I am really fired up about this stuff. But Ben Shapiro was talking. I thought I hadn't listened to Ben Shapiro in a while. And I kind of like the way he talks so fast, because it's like his synapses fire so fast his mouth can't keep up with his brain. So I've always kind of enjoyed listening to him. But he was talking about his parents. He said they were in mid-60s, so I'm like, that's my age. And how they all had been sheltering in place, including, I guess, his 2 children. I don't know how many children. I think he has 2 children. But he didn't want the children to, get the virus and pass it on to the mid-60 people. So he's like protecting them. And he said something like, because if my kids went to school or left the house, I would have to send my parents away. And I thought, how patronizing and sickening that was to me when he said that. I mean, if my niece had said, ooh, you know, you're over 65, I don't want to come visit you because I don't want to take a chance. That would be just horrific to me. Like, how dare you treat people that way? That Ben Shapiro would not let his parents, because he said, I wouldn't let them see their grandchildren. And the reason he brought it up was that, oh my gosh, there was a study done that literally there's no case of anyone under the age of 10 having the virus and transmitting it to another adult. Literally no one ever anywhere. So he was basing his whole life and the whole way he was reacting on that assumption. Come on, people. Like, aren't you supposed to be smart, Ben Shapiro? Think it through? It's like you're letting these experts with what they say run your lives, and you're keeping your kids locked down for that, and they're not spreading it to anybody? It's just, why are we doing this? We cannot allow this to do this. I mean, people have fought for this country, and so how do you get people to give up their rights? You scare them. That's how you do it. You scare them. And are we such sheep that we allow ourselves to be scared without thinking it through ourselves? Again, I've said this many, many times. If you know a whole lot of people who are dying and dropping dead from this new virus, right and left, oh my God, I heard of this person that died and this person that died, and oh, my friend's child died and this person died and that person died. Okay, different story. But I don't know anybody who's died. I don't know anybody who knows anybody who's died. Now, maybe it got put on a death certificate of some older relative somewhere back east. Somebody died, but not anybody, not in our lives, not here in California, this beautiful sunny place. It's insane. And yet people are just cowering in fear. Holy, are we that easy to control? Are we that easy to control that we will give up our freedoms? No, don't do it. Don't do it. So here's one of the things. So Robert was over here yesterday. He always comes over on Fridays. And Robert's very easygoing. Now, he's very fit. So I remember later in the day, I told Julie that Robert was 70. And she was like, really? I mean, because the 3 of us were exercising together. You know, like, come on, let's do push-ups. Come on, we're running fast. And Robert could run fast. And Julie was helping me run fast and really get my heart rate up, and she's really good about that. Boy, I'll hear her voice in my head when I'm really trying to pick up the speed. She's really good for me. But the three of us were just having fun playing together. By the way, I got to tell you something about Robert. He had been on a swim team, and he still is, but they're not practicing right now, obviously, because the pools are shut down. But now that he's 70, he's in the 70 to 75-year-old category. And they had a 1-hour swim thing where you have to see how fast or how far you can swim in 1 hour. And he was the 6th in the nation, which is pretty cool. So he's got good cardio. He's so much like Harold, his dad, in terms of just fabulous cardio. I mean, Harold was like that. So it's very inspiring, and it's fun. But anyway, talking to Robert about this, he's really pretty nice. Remember, I said he's a Democrat, because he listens to all my positive rants about this and how mad I am, and you know, he gets a little pushback from people about the fact that he comes to visit me, or he goes out and exercises without a mask and does various things, but he's just easygoing. So depending on your personality, so he'll let people say things to him, but it doesn't affect what he does. You know, they'll say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, and he'll just listen and then do what he wants to do. So that works for him. That doesn't work for me, because if someone tries to tell me what to do, I'll tell them where to go. But you got to go with your own personality. Like, just don't let people control you. So you do what you want to do. You might be nice like Robert and not get in an argument or not even get mad at them. He doesn't even get mad at them, or feel annoyed like I would. So I realized you just got to do it the way you want to do it. Oh, and don't you like Elon Musk? He just said, we got to give people back their freedom. We're not living in a fascist country. And I thought, oh my gosh. You know, I've always had kind of mixed feelings about Elon Musk, but because climate change stuff and the green stuff. But, oh my God, yes. So I tweeted his comment. You know, I find these things and retweet them. So that was fantastic. I've been looking a lot into Bill Gates. That is a strange situation. I don't think Bill Gates is evil, but hugely misguided. And he has way too much power and influence. Because I've been trying to figure out, how did this happen? How did all these governments shut down with this so-called pandemic? Pandemic just means it's worldwide. But it wasn't really killing people. But you had all these models, you had all this, and all the countries just had to take these, or felt politically compelled to take these draconian measures. And then you got people more and more afraid. Something weird is going on. So I've been watching a lot of videos about Bill Gates. You know, I've known about Bill Gates since the early days. I even was in this was in 1992. I was at an event, and I was impressed because, you know, my husband Harold had gotten the National Medal of Technology the first year they did it in 1985. And that was interesting. That's when I met Steve Jobs, because he also got it, he and Steve Wozniak. Now, Steve Jobs was weird. I chatted with him a lot because he was like fascinated. I was an engineer, and I was like the only other young person there at the White House. But anyway, that was another story. But I remember thinking, because I'd just been married to Harold for a year, and I would say Steve Jobs was kind of flirting with me. And I remember thinking, there's something off about that guy. Like, if I were single, I would never date him. But anyway, but he was brilliant. Later, I mean, what he did with Apple and Pixar, I mean, technically brilliant, but not a person you'd want to be friends with. That's my view. Well, Bill Gates, I remember we were standing in this group and we were talking, and he was like very polite, very well-mannered, and I remember this kind of, I don't know, this guy was bloviating, for lack of a better term, trying to show off to Bill. And Bill Gates was so polite to him and so kind in his manner that it impressed me. And then there was something going on, I don't even remember the details, but there was something Harold was doing with the satellites or something, and Bill Gates was interested, and so he wanted to give me the number, he wanted to give Harold the number, or the phone number. So for some reason, Bill Gates and I were talking, and he was writing down the phone number to give to me, and I just looked at it, because, you know, I'm always kidding around with guys, and I said, that's really messy, you don't write like an engineer. And I could tell he was kind of offended, and I thought, really? Because usually guys just, you know, you dish it back and forth. I'm just kind of teasing him, but whatever. But that left a... And then I liked the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, so they were doing all this stuff in Africa and all this. But I do not like, boy, I've gone over the map here. I do not like what he has done now to the whole world. I mean, maybe some of this stuff worked in Africa. You know, I liked where they were trying to fight malaria, polio, and things like that. So I was impressed with them. But they have no connection to the real world. To talk about shutting down entire economies, for what? You know, I've often thought, what if I had a ton of money? Because, you know, it can happen. I mean, I have enough money now. I'm not like super, but I have plenty of money. And I know in some ways it's really easy to get a lot of money. Just in the right place and make the right investments. I don't know. I just don't feel, I feel like wealth comes easy to me now, even though I did not grow up with it. But I always thought like, well, you know, what if I had like that kind of money? So I can put myself into Bill Gates' position in my mind. And it's really kind of scary because you can think you're doing good and you are really doing harm. You think that you're doing good and you're really doing harm. That's just kind of sad to me on some level. That I see not his intentions, but the effect of his actions, his wealth, all the hard work he and Melinda Gates have done. It's actually kind of evil. It's enough on Bill Gates. Oh, so let me say something. I'm disappointed with Greg Gutfeld. He listens to Scott Adams too much. And Scott Adams, I used to listen to him. He has interesting things to say, but he is amoral. That's my view. He's not a nice person. And I picked that up when I was listening to him. But I'm disappointed that Greg Gutfeld listens to him because I like Greg Gutfeld, but I don't like him so much. When he was talking about on his last Saturday show that wearing masks is the new normal, I just had to turn it off. I can't listen to that. C-R-A-P. You know, because Scott Adams likes Bill Gates, and they're all drinking from the same Kool-Aid, okay? That this is the new normal. Wash your hands, wear your mask, you know, social distance. These people, there's something psychologically wrong with them, okay? maybe not Greg Gutfeld, but definitely, but he's not the picture of health. He talks about his health issues all the time. And you look at Scott Adams, oh my God, you know, he's like a year younger than I am, but he just looks, no, a couple of years younger than I am. But these people, they're like holed up in their little, they're not outdoors. They're not interacting with the world. You notice those people, they're okay with continuing the shutdown. Like one of the things that's really been bothering me is, they're reopening tattoo parlors and nail salons. Really? Okay, what's wrong with that? It's like, no, that's not right. Because it's regular people, or people who maybe don't make a lot of money, but this is their income. So why is there such a snide thing about that? Because these people who are on television, their jobs aren't in jeopardy. Yeah, they have to social distance a little bit, but it doesn't really affect them. But this is the livelihood of these other people. And who are they to say? And first of all, let us decide. In other words, if you go to a place and it's not clean, or they don't have, like I saw something on television where one nail salon that opened up in one of the states, they just put a barrier between the person, you know, like a glass barrier, and then they both had masks, the customer and the person, and then they put their hands through and they're doing the nails. It's like, yeah, okay, but we didn't have to have the government tell them how to do it. They figured it out. Restaurants are the same thing. Let people figure it out. We know there's a virus out there, so we're going to take precautions. But don't treat us like we're children and you have to tell us, no, thank you. No, thank you. By the way, Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham, I watch them every night. I record it and watch it. And like last night, it was so good, both of them. I watched it twice. I highly encourage you to watch those. Who they have on, really good people, you know, and this is all coronavirus related and our freedoms related. There's a huge number of other issues going on. Okay, here's another thing I've noticed. The advertising, the companies, think of how they're trying to control. I mean, when I say they, I don't mean like they sit around and plan this, okay? I don't think it works that way. I don't think people plan things. That's why I'm not into conspiracy theories. I think they just like have a certain way of thinking, and then they kind of get into a group think, and then there's social pressure, and then nobody questions it. So I hate the advertising. We're all in this together, okay? It's incessant, okay? Enough already. I'm not into it, okay? I don't want to be part of this where we all shelter and we're all doing it. For what? For what? For a virus that didn't happen. You know what's interesting about all these layoffs at hospitals and doctors' offices? And I mean, there's no work. But you know what's kind of interesting is, I haven't completely thought this through, but how many medical examinations and procedures are really necessary if people are so willing to give them up? You know, I've long felt that, you know, kind of try to stay away from doctors. I mean, doctors are great when you really need a doctor, okay? Certainly if you break an arm, I mean, or something like that, or you have a major problem, okay? I'm all for doctors. There's some really good doctors out there. But some of these other things, the checks, the checkups, the whatever they think people are not doing now because they're afraid of going to the doctor. I mean, they don't even want to go in. They're afraid of having it done, going into a doctor's office. And it's like, why do so many people go to the doctor? Why do so many people go to the hospital? What are all these surgeries people are having? Maybe, and I just raise this as a maybe, it's not all that necessary. A lot of the things that are being done are not really necessary. I mean, people have always been afraid about their health in one way or another. Now it's just, at this current time, it's all focused on the coronavirus. So, but, you know, if I think back, people super afraid. Oh, I'm afraid of GMOs. Oh, I'm afraid of, you know, whatever, pesticides and Monsanto or whatever. They're just afraid, okay? So now it's all focused on this. But the problem with this is it allows for tyranny, only if we allow it, okay? Like I was listening to Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and he's been getting pushback from Orange County, and I love it. I've been tweeting about it, sending videos. I love it. And I think he's a little scared that he's overreached. He realizes he's really angering people too much. You just can't do that in this state. And by the way, thank you for all you people who have pets, who have dogs that you have to walk. Because most liberals have dogs. Well, and conservatives as well. I don't have a dog. But they knew they could not tell people that you could not take your dog on a walk. So early on, when the shutdown happened, one of the first things Gavin Newsom said was, you can take your dog for a walk. And so you have to say, well, people can take a walk. You can go outside for exercise. And I'm thinking, if people did not have pets where they had to take them for a walk, oh my God, what would have happened? Would they have just ordered everybody to stay inside? I'm a little concerned that that would have happened. So thank you, all you liberals who have dogs that have to go walking. Okay, I'm going to mention one thing that's been in the news before I close, and that is about Joe Biden. Now, as some of you know, I was very, very upset during the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, and that really started me doing these videos because I was waking up in the middle of the night. I was so bothered that everybody was saying that Christine Blasey Ford was credible, and I just felt like, no way. So I got like, I don't know what maybe 57,000 views. I mean, it went viral. It was like, wow. Because I just sat here at this table and said, she's not credible, and explained why I didn't think she was credible. But here's something I have not heard about the Joe Biden issue. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to repeat all the other stuff we've heard about. Hello, Me Too movement, like you're going to listen to women if they accuse Kavanaugh, but not if they accuse Joe Biden. I don't need to repeat all that. I get it. But one thing that I have not heard that is a crucial difference. Now, first of all, I absolutely do not believe that Brett Kavanaugh did that to Christine Blasey Ford when he was in high school, okay? So you're talking about, but even if it were true, okay, which wasn't, because, and the reason I know that is because I know men, I do know men. I have very, very good judgment about men, and there's just no way. First of all, a person doesn't do something once and never again, okay? He was too shy and awkward. He would not have done that. He would not have gone to that kind of party and done that, okay? But even so, what was he accused of by Christine Blasey Ford? That he would have to have all those FBI checks, and even though there was no corroboration, okay, all of that stuff. She had nobody who corroborated her story. She didn't even know when it happened. But, having said all that, she might have had an experience with some guy, and then she later, in her really screwed up mind, convinced herself that it was Brett Kavanaugh, even though there's no proof she even knew him. But he wasn't, this person who did this, these two guys, were in high school. And they just pressed their body. She was on the bed. Like, how did she get on the bed? That's the whole part of my video from before. I mean, how did you go upstairs and get on a bed with guys? I mean, parties that happened back then. and they laid on top of her. And then when she started to scream, they like backed off. They put the handle like, don't scream, you know, because then everybody like, we're not doing anything. And then they left, and they were laughing, and she was really upset about the laughing. But there was, excuse the term, no penetration, no under the clothes, just their body of one of them was lying on top of her. And that person was in high school. Now contrast that with a sitting U.S. Senator. A sitting U.S. Senator and a woman who worked for him. So he has a position of power over her. And there was finger penetration. Now, and this is just my opinion, I don't understand this woman. I mean, clearly the story is solid, in my mind is solid. She told her friend, she told her mother, whatever. But I've been with a lot of guys in my times. There's no way anybody could get a finger in me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so blunt. It's like she could have screamed or whatever, but she didn't. So she probably gave him mixed signals and was very uncomfortable and didn't know how to stop it. And he thought she was interested. I mean, it's sleazy is what it is to me. It's sleazy. And it just says something about the culture of Washington. And I'm not excusing Joe Biden, not by any means. But I would not compare what Joe Biden did in a position of power and authority, and that was her job, okay? So, you know, she probably had all kinds of conflicting, you know, feelings, like, I can't really scream, I can't hit him, he's my boss, okay? That's exactly what you talk about in the Me Too movement, that women are put in these horrible situations where their job is in jeopardy if they don't comply. And so it was just hugely uncomfortable for her, and still uncomfortable to this day. That's exactly what we're talking about. But going to a party and going upstairs and having too many beers and not remembering where you were, and you know, you're laying on a bed with a guy, and then you suddenly decide, I don't want to do this, okay, and nothing happened. Holy cow, there is no comparison. So why hasn't anybody mentioned that? There's no comparison, okay? Because quite frankly, I mean, there's no way in my mind that Brett Kavanaugh did this. No way. But if he had, and he never did anything like that for the rest of his life, and he was just some stupid kid in high school, but yet nothing in his career after that, nothing, no other complaints from women. He worked with women, he helped, I mean, no, they all spoke highly of him. I would let it go. That wouldn't bother me. I would just say, yeah, you were kind of a creep in high school, but you sure grew up fast. But again, I'm not saying that to say that Brett Kavanaugh did that, because he just wasn't that type. I knew lots of guys that were like that when I was in high school. And there are a lot of guys that are not like that. So to try to put that on Brett Kavanaugh was crazy. That's what's crazy. But anyway, nobody mentions the high school versus the boss. Okay? Huge, huge difference. So anyway, oh my gosh, I'm almost 39 minutes. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Please follow me on Twitter, because I send out stuff all week long. And I look forward to your comments. And let's just keep fighting. Don't get discouraged. No, I wish, I hope. We are fighting this. It's a war. And we're on the right side. We're going to fight for this country. We're going to fight for our Constitution. See you next week.